Good morning, Tammy.
Good morning, Julie.
How are you?
I'm good. Well, I am now. Yeah.
I'm doing well too.
Good. Good.
I think the
Little
most
cat
stressful,
issues this morning.
right. Well, Tammy and I were talking about that this morning just briefly before we came on. So first, let's say it's Tuesday, March 8th, and we're two psychic moms. This is Tammy Langowski of Tammy's Intuitive Services, and I'm Julie Hawkins of Biz Psychic, the Biz Psychic. And Tammy, you can be found.
I can be found on my website, excuse me, intuitive.com, tammy'sintuitive.com, and social media for Tammy's Intuitive Services on Instagram, Facebook, and now TikTok. That's pretty new. So check out my videos if you get a chance on TikTok. I don't have many up yet, so I appreciate your follows and all that good stuff, as we do here, of course. And I have my Tammy's channel chats also with some channel messages on YouTube. Thank you. And Julie.
And I just want to say, I loved the conversation you had on TikTok with you and Jake. So
Oh, thank you. I plan on doing another one soon, hopefully.
they are, yeah. If I could probably get Bella and Felix, but nobody else will join in. But anyway, I am the Biz Psychic. I can be found at bizpsychic.com or juliehawkins.com. And I have some older YouTube videos. I haven't been doing that much these days, other than with two psychic moms, because I just really enjoy this interaction. And I don't know, maybe I'll get back to doing some more of the um, stream of stuff.
Yeah.
We'll see. I haven't felt called to it right now. So
Well, Julie, I just want to say too that, a lot of the videos, both what Julie and I do, even on our own, and these as well, they're really timeless, right? I mean, so whether we've had any that are, up weekly or not, really, check them out, because there's some good information that comes through. So,
or even if they're around things like a I don't think we're even supposed to say the word. Can we even say the word pandemic? I did.
oh yeah, probably. I don't know.
I think we can say pandemic. I mean, there's a lot of questions I received about the pandemic, or about where we were and how long it was going to take us to recover, and blah blah blah. So there's a lot of things that are up there about that. So and politics, and now maybe I should do a thing about war. I heard that this morning. So I'll just tell you what I heard this morning about that.
Okay.
We'll launch into our questions, which was it's not going to last that much longer in Ukraine. But and maybe we could ask this here and now. They didn't tell me what that meant. Okay. They didn't say, oh, people are going to step in and help Ukraine, or Russia's going to drop a bomb, or they because drop-ins, Tammy, as you well know, it's sometimes just a phrase or a feeling or a picture or word that we get. It's not a lot of detail often. So, and that's where I am right now. I'm trying to gather more detail. So that's what they said. It's not going to last much longer, and I don't even know what much longer means. Days, a few weeks. I wonder if they can tell me a little bit more about that, because it's kind of rocked the world, not kind of, it has rocked the world. And I'm listening. So they're saying to me, we feel that there will be those who will step up, and it just will take a little bit of time. But there will be those who will step up and assist in this operation of supporting Ukraine with what they need to protect themselves. It is so much more than just Ukraine, as many of you know. They're saying it is so much more than just what happens in Ukraine. This is a challenge to the entire world. And the entire world needs to step up and not just say, shame on you. What they're saying, what are you afraid of?
Interesting.
He needs to be put in his place. Putin needs to be put in his place. He needs to see that the whole world is against this, that this is unacceptable. Yeah. And that they will the world will band together to stop what's happening if they can get over their fear. In the meantime, there are incremental steps. Okay, I just asked, is there more about that? And they said not for now. Maybe that will come later. I don't know.
Yeah, Julie, and it makes all sense too from what you got from your guides and stuff. What I'm kind of receiving too is that it was like what I felt like is this is something that nobody really wants. I mean, can we say war? Does anybody really want war? But I really feel like this is that we've evolved a bit. We're going to give ourselves some credit here as the human race. They're telling me that we've evolved to a place now. There's war still going on, obviously, so don't get me wrong on that. I mean, there's a lot of work to do, but at the same time, it's like it does want to be nipped in the bud, even though things are happening already, and a lot of bad stuff is already happening with this situation. But I do feel we're there's so many that are more on board with, oh, no, we're just not going there. We're not gonna, well, it has gone there, but you know what I mean, to the degree maybe past wars have been, our history has been. So I think there is more effort, like you were mentioning to that, there's more effort, I think, going to be put into kind of trying to, stop this before it's even bigger and bigger. Will that be? I don't know that, as far as what I'm receiving as well. But I definitely feel there's a lot more effort being put into that to silence this whole ridiculousness, is what I hear it as. And I look at Putin's energy the best I can. Well, he doesn't really want to stop much. That's what I'm picking up right now, which is concerning. I've gone back and forth on that a little bit. I don't check on that all the time, but things I've received where there's a little bit of not wanting to, but at the same time now the ego comes in and, being kind of stuck in that win kind of mentality. And, yeah, what we can do is the best we can do is support, and in any cause that makes sense for you as an individual, to help in this. And for some, it will be rolling up sleeves and getting in business and getting things done. For some of you, it will be world peace and visualization and prayer. And not saying those two can't go together, they can. But yeah, there's different avenues, to be helping this. So yeah.
They are saying to me, this is not what the world wants to focus on. It is, there
Right.
are a greater, more important, more what's the word I'm looking for? Just current problems that need to be focused on, such as climate change. And
Yeah.
so they're saying the world doesn't want any part of this. And they also said to me the other day, they said, you have preached for so many years after World War II, never again, we can never let this happen again. And so you need to stand behind your words now and not just have them be words. This is your opportunity. It is no more. It cannot ever happen again. And they're also saying, Putin is like that child throwing the tantrum. You can listen to it for a certain amount of time, and then all the parents in the family come together and say, this isn't going to stop, and this is can no longer go on. And he will need to either back down or self-destruct. Either one is acceptable to your planet. So as long as he doesn't take any more with him, but he has made a horrible mess of a lot of innocent people, and not just in Ukraine, in Russia, and your world is not going to stand for it. So they're slow in some places to come along. They're afraid to step over a line. But what my guides are saying to me is they're you have to step over the line. You can't be kowtowed or bullied by the line.
Yeah.
Line has been crossed. The line has been crossed.
Yeah, exactly. We're getting closer to that. That's what I'm feeling. We are getting closer to none of this nonsense. No, we're not going there, even though I know it's gone there, but you know what I mean, to the degree it has in history and in the past. Yeah.
Putin crossed the line. So it's been crossed.
Right.
Okay. So we hope that there's, I'm just like, can you tune in and give me more positive outcomes for this. And it's really still in flux, is what my guides are saying. We do feel that it's shortened, that this isn't going to go on for months or years. But it's still in flux. And so there are many possible outcomes to this, that we cannot give you one certain outcome other than what we have given you. Okay. And yeah, they like prayers too. They're saying, yeah, prayers is um, a coming together of that global consciousness, the collective consciousness. So do
Right.
it.
Right.
All righty.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so we have a couple of questions.
We have some juicy questions today.
Yeah.
Woohoo
So
questions
thank
today.
you, Mika, for sending these in. This is one I was starting to tell Julie before we started that I used to think about a lot too. And I'm sure there's a lot of people that do kind of wonder this.
Yep.
And the gist of it really is, I'll read some of that then. So she talks about how some people can communicate with their ancestors. They're also psychics. Okay, that was weird. Sorry, my email literally just jumped to something else. That was really weird. I've never had that happen before. Okay. Hold on one second here, because now I have to find the original. I know it's here.
I can read too. I printed.
Okay, you got it there. Okay, yeah, if you do, go ahead.
All right.
That was strange. Okay.
Moving energy, moving energy.
Oh, that was so weird. Yeah, I've never had that happen
All right.
before.
They're saying, she says, some people can communicate with their ancestors. There are also psychics who can channel with people from ancient times. Why can they communicate even if their ancestors are reborn while they are alive? So what I get out of that is, if your sixth generation grandparent died, but you can still connect with them, but they have been reincarnated, how does that work?
Right.
Right?
Right. A great question. We all wonder, like, well, wait a minute, how does that happen? That's just so weird. I'm sorry.
And it all
Okay.
has to relate to time. So
Yeah.
you want to go? Go ahead.
Okay, so yeah, sorry guys that I'm looking at all of this. That was just a very strange phenomenon that just happened there. Okay, so yes, I was just going to say that I have wondered that many times, that, used to be that I would think that if way back in the day when I kind of started all this, I didn't try even communicating with like my grandmother, who I'd never met, who had passed when my mom was 12 years old. Because I thought, well, she's in another body now. She's surely reincarnated in our time, from what I would figure. I've learned a lot since then, but it's a really valid question, because we do wonder that, like, how can we communicate with them if it's been so long, or surely they're back and reincarnated, which is not always the case, but that's a whole nother topic. They can choose. We can all choose when to come back into a lifetime if we choose to at all. Most of us will do that in some capacity because of the learning that is to be had, the wonderful opportunities to be had. So we say to, I'm opening up just to my guides, and just really, I will be putting in my own thoughts and experience on this as well, but opening up how we can, and gosh darn it, I wish I could read it here, because I do better when I can read it.
I'll read. Do you want me to read it to you?
Read the gist of it again for me. I do better with that when
I understand that. So
yeah.
she says, how can we communicate with people that have died many generations ago and may be reincarnated and are maybe alive today in a different form? How can we still
Okay, so
communicate with them when
thank you, Julie. Yeah, because what I'm getting is, it's all universal. It happens simultaneously is what they're telling me right now. So our essence of soul, and I have been explaining this before for my guides, our essence of our soul is always at home, meaning heaven, home base, basically. If we want to call it that, it's probably everywhere, but just so we have more of an understanding.
I like home base.
What's that?
I like home base.
Yeah. We always refer to it as home, And so, yeah, I mean, not that energy isn't everywhere, because really that's kind of the reality of it, I believe, but we'll just, to make it simplified, when we're back home, there's an essence of us there. That's what I would ask my guides. Well, how can it be that if they're in another body, if my grandmother is in another body, let's say, then how can I be communicating really with her? It doesn't matter, they say, because it's universal energy, it's telepathy. It's tuning into to one's vibration and soul essence that communicates back to us. It's no different really than people that are living here. And I can have a telepathic communication with them as a clairaudient. Now, if I were to go up to some friend and say, hey, did you get my message, my telepathic message that I sent you? They'll probably be going, no, what? They consciously, they're not going to necessarily realize that. But I can assure you, I'm getting back feedback. So if I'm talking to them, certainly if there's conflict, it's a really good way to also just not to take the opportunity to rag on them and, like just really get mad at them and argue with them and say all these things, more to have an understanding sometimes from the soul perspective, if there's a conflict or things like that, or just sending some love to them or something like that. So really, there's no difference then. If there is a soul, if I want to talk to my grandmother, since then I'm like, what was I thinking? So I've tuned into my grandma. She does talk to me. She comes from a spiritual perspective. I've forgotten to ask her over the years if she's really incarnated again. My sense is no, because again, remember, it's been so many years our time, which is nothing back home in the other dimensions. Time, as we know, is relevant, right? It doesn't really exist as we know it here. So many of the souls will wait till family members come together again to meet once again, maybe even to go over some real good stuff. You kind of have that life review sort of thing, maybe as a soul contract with a grouping of family, then we kind of go over that. So I would say it doesn't matter, is what I would say. You can communicate with those that have maybe even reincarnated, because you're still tapping into their soul vibration, soul essence. I'm looking for the right words, but I think you get my point on that. You are still able, again, if I can do it with somebody that is living here, then I can do that with anybody, anywhere. I've talked to many that have crossed over. Some have told me, many, again, mostly I do that with family. And so the family that I talk to they aren't necessarily have incarnated into a body as yet that I'm aware of. I do feel there's going to be a bit of that soul reunion kind of thing. Not to say that that grandma can't come in as another soul member, a family member in our, generational kind of thing. But it doesn't, they didn't say it doesn't matter. You still are able to communicate. So don't worry like, oh, grandma now is really, going to be your grandchild or whatever it might be. Not to really worry about that. The communication can still be there. And it is always, they just showed me glue. There's glue at home. That's where our essence is, again, our soul vibration and, just who we are. And so that's always able to incarnate. Now, the other question to that, if you don't mind me jumping in with this too, because the other question I used to have is, okay, if they've incarnated again, will I see them when I go back home? And the answer is yes, we will. Because I really have come to the conclusion from what I've learned and I've been told that, again, part of us, if we want to put it this way, is always at home. And so you don't have to worry about that. You don't have to think, God, it's been so many years that I lost my mother or my father. Surely they're not going to be there. They've moved on. And it doesn't work that way. They tell me, yes, there's incarnations, but you will see them and have that reunion.
I think we agree with all of that. And I think we're going to give you some additional language that might help with this too, which is, so as you were speaking, they said to me, there's like a shadow or an echo of each incarnation. And so they're always going to have, you're always going to be able to connect with that shadow or echo. And that's how we can connect with people who have passed so long ago and even reincarnated into something else or somebody else. And so there's always that energetic echo of that person, much like you were saying, there's always that part of them that's at home. So it's just another way of saying it that maybe feels a little bit more, I don't want to say tangible, because none of those things are really tangible.
Another way to look at it. Yeah.
We'll say familiar. Okay. I mean, we kind of know what an echo or a shadow might be. So yeah, that we don't have anything else to add to that except really just giving you a different perspective or a way of being connected to what that means. So there's just another slice of them, a slice of their energy that you can connect into.
Right.
Slice, echo, shadow, very interesting language they're giving me. So, and even if they incarnate into a new person, there's always that echo. Yeah, very interesting because energy doesn't die.
Right.
It just comes back in different forms, and there can be an echo of that energy or that matter. So
Right. Yeah, because what we perceive as ancient times and ancient things, that's our time frames. You know,
yeah,
it's eternal, you
yeah.
know. And so yeah, I mean, I recently tapped in, well, that's a whole nother story, but anyway, recently tapped into Sarah Winchester of
Oh,
Winchester Mystery House,
fun.
but there was a whole reason for that. But anyway, and that, and my goodness, she's been passed for, well, many years. I don't even forget what year she died. She did live to be an elderly person, but that's kind of the same thing, right? I mean, it's like, it doesn't matter. I don't even care to know if she's really incarnated into other lifetimes, but definitely have, had a conversation with her. So, but I'm just giving that as an example,
Well,
long
that's
ago.
that's actually perfect because it led to another thing. So if you watched last, we hope you did watch last week's episode. I explained, they explained to me, if you think about your soul as a boat, a very large boat, and the lifetimes as oars, you're actually calling up one of the oars and you're speaking to one of the oars. Okay. So the oars don't disappear. They are still in the boat. You're just calling up and you're talking to one of the oars as a human, right? Because every oar is synonymous with a human lifetime.
Yeah.
So
That's great. That's a great analogy. And it's so comforting, isn't it? It's so comforting to know that don't worry about it. You will be reunited with your loved ones no matter when they passed. Don't worry that they've moved on from you. By the time you arrive home, you're going to be like, where are they? No, you will see them. You will see them. There is that essence there that will manifest and be there for you.
this was not only a great question, but it gave, because I have talked about this with others and had some of this information as well, but we delved into different aspects of it, and so I found this very enlightening as well. So
It's a great question. So thank you.
totally keep asking those questions. That was
Yeah.
great. Those are the kinds of questions we want. So if there's any more that pops up around that, we'll delve back into it, because really that question led into her next question about time. And so it's all one big topic, really,
Yeah.
And I can read that.
You might even read the example, because she had kind of an interesting example there. I thought that was interesting. I wish I could find it.
Do we want to do
kind of when she was they were studying, I think it was, her and a friend or something.
Okay. So here, yeah, so we'll read her question, then I'll read her example, and then I'll read the question again. How's that? All right. So she says, her question is, could you talk about time leap or time warp? What is that? Could you discuss it? She said, I had a very interesting experience. My co-teaching partner and I were teaching a parenting class, and I'll leave out the name of the place. It was from 6:30 to 9 p.m. At 7:40, my partner said, we are a little behind, let's speed up. About 30 minutes later, when I looked at the clock on the wall, it was still 7:40. I wondered if the clock had stopped. And when I looked at the clock on my cell phone, it was 7:36. When I looked at the clock on the wall again, the second hand was moving and the clock was not stopped. I thought that I moved to a parallel world, or I was daydreaming. I kept looking at clocks. Time goes slow. I felt that 20 minutes from 7:40 is 8 o'clock was about, she's saying it felt like that 20 minutes from 7:40 to 8 o'clock was 20 minutes, but she felt like it was 2 hours.
Mhm.
My partner felt exactly the same. And so she also felt that the 20 minutes was about 2 hours. It was strange that we both felt the same thing. I wanted to know what happened. Did we warp? Did we shift to the parallel world? Did we manifest the time? I know time is illusion, but it was cool. It was a cool experience. We could finish the class on time.
Yeah, I know. Yay.
Oh. Okay, where do you want to?
I got some stuff coming in,
Oh,
so
go for it. 'Cause-
only because you're reading it, it helped me
Yeah,
to be
yeah,
able to
no,
do that.
go for it.
And then definitely we'll hear what you are saying, getting for that too. Couple things on that. First of all, they were telling me that you set an intention, and that intention by the friend that you bought into was a good intention, right? Hey, we need to speed up, or we need to, we need to get this done. That had something to do with that. Okay. So what I feel like it was, if we were to say time leap, time warp, we're going to say it was like a time leap. And yes, in a sense, you choose to go out of what is restricted of time as we know it, and be able to fast forward in a sense, or slow down, whatever the situation may be needed at that time. You both were matching energy on that decision. So then it sort of manifested in that way. So we would say that is more of like if you want to call it a time leap in a sense. Now it's really cool because not everybody is really conscious of that, but I bet a lot of us have had situations like that where you'll think, oh, that's funny. In fact, I want to share this really quick, not so much what happened to me, but I remember, I don't know, years ago reading something, maybe it was another intuitive or something. It said something about, how, let's say you're running late to someplace, but go ahead and set the time of that. No, actually, I'm going to be on time. I'm going to arrive there by 7:30, whatever the time is that you need. Even though in your logical mind of time here, you're thinking, oh, I don't think that's going to happen, right? But if you set that, and I practiced that a couple times, and it was eerily accurate, where that did happen. So, you kind of set that intention, and we could say, did outward experiences then support that? Possibly. Did suddenly you be able to get into the right lane in the traffic to get you a little faster to go here and there? Yeah, maybe that is part of it. But I did think it was really fascinating and something you can try. Of course, you always want to be careful and not to be flying down the road, and don't get us wrong on that. Want you speeding to get somewhere, but just think about that maybe sometime. Like, decide that you're not going to give into the fear of I'm going to be late, because that sets an intention. So go into that, I'm going to arrive at this time. Now, there's logic to this too. If you're talking about 5 minutes that you only allow yourself, that may not be happening. But anyway, that's what I'm kind of getting that. Yes, I think the two of you, you shifted your awareness, is what they're saying. You shifted your awareness. And so you did not buy into our time limit. And they went like this. Congratulations. It worked for you, So yeah, anyway, that's what I'm getting on that. How about you, Julie?
Absolutely. We're going to go with that, and we're going to add a little bit more. So here's what I heard. They said, and when they said this, I'm like, okay, what does that mean? Can you give me an example of that? They said, time is a construct. You can change the construct. So much like your house is a construct, it's constructed for you to live in, and how you have it is constructed in a specific way. You can change the construction or the construct of your house to be physically done and changed in a specific way, and which may helps you to perceive it in a different way, or to live in that construct in a different way, whatever that way is that helps you, hopefully. And so time is the same way. It is something that you can use and create to be a I don't have another word. Maybe I'll give another word for it. A construct of something that you need it to be. So like this class, you had a construct of, I think it was, what'd she say, 7 to 9? I don't know what she said. 2 hours, 2.5 hours, whatever.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you're like, oh, we're behind. So we need to change the construct to make it simpler for us to get in what we need in the time that we need. So we'll just change the construct of how we do this. And in that way, you've changed the time. Does that make sense?
Yep. It's parallel. We're both saying it's great. We're both getting the same thing. We're both getting the same thing. It's just our own wordage and our guide's wordage. But yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, makes sense.
So I'm asking Allery. Allery is saying, because Allery is from a different world, and this is all happening, it can happen for humans in a different way. Of course, time is different for everyone, depending upon where you are in your evolution as a being or as a world. Okay, so in Allery is saying, in my world, our construct is, we use time, but we also use our minds to do what we need to do and have done what we need to have done. And so it doesn't matter really the timing of it or what you would think of as time. We utilize that energy or that perception or that construct in a different way. Every universe has a different construct of time, and time is malleable, is what I always say he, but I don't, he's like, don't worry about it. What he is saying to me, Allery, every place has a different time construct, and it's how they determine they need to use it the best for their world. So in other words, on Earth, we created a construct based on the seasons so that we could have our crops and the things that we grow and our animals that we consumed be with us in a manner that was helpful for us. Please don't step on my keyboard. So that is how it works for Earth. But on, say, your planet of Jupiter, which you, of course, cannot live on, but that doesn't mean that there isn't life. Time has a different construct for them, or for anything that happens to be on that planet. And there is, I'm going to ask now, is there life on that planet? And they're saying to me, there is life on that planet, not as you would think of it, of course. As you think of it, it's human beings, Homo sapiens, but it is not that way. It is, they're showing me like cells or amoebas or water, or ice, or things like that. But that's still life. Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh, I just feel like this could go off, and I don't want to get too heady about it. So, because sometimes then I'm like looking back and I'm like, what did that mean? Could you explain that to me?
Exactly. Yeah, I've done that too.
So, so we'll just simplify that back to the beginning, which is it's just a tool that you use to help you execute, create, or carry out certain tasks that you as human beings need to carry out. How's that? That was it. That was helpful, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And if we look at time warp, I'll just briefly tap on that, of what they say about time warp. Time warp. What is it? Oh, okay. They just said it's when you leave your body and go to a different location. What they just said. Okay. And there you are. You know, you see it, you view it as what you dub as a time warp, they said here. But it is, there's nothing more they're telling me on that. And Julie, I know you're going to speak to that. I also want to say quickly of your Jupiter kind of thing. When it was, I chuckled because when you described it as whatever cells, whatever you said it, I was seeing something too also that was like, I mean, I know, like we said, this could be a whole nother subject, but but like, I hesitate to say gray because that can sometimes mean something dark, but almost like this gray blobby stuff that kind of moves, to us in spirit form, like, so like you said, not a person, obviously, but something that was moving around, little blobs of something. Anyway.
You can absolutely project your consciousness out to any place that you want it to go to and visit, and do that, we'll say, for you without harm, because your body is not going. It is an aspect of your consciousness that is going out there. Oh, time warp. We like your explanation. We don't want to get too involved in that because it goes out really into other worlds and things that most humans aren't going to make sense of. So we'll leave it at that. They're saying, here's something we would invite you to do. Sit and meditate and let your set your intention for your consciousness to go out and visit any of the planets in your solar system. What does it feel like? What do you notice there? Is there something to be learned that you could bring back to help you in this world? They are not inhabited by human beings, as you know. But there are other beings, again, we'll call them beings, even though they're not as you would think of them, on these other planets. There are other life forms. There are other life forms on these planets and beyond. So I will share an experience I had as well. Years ago, as I was first starting to do, I hadn't even gotten in touch with my own psychic, in touch with my own psychic ability. But I had done I'm sorry, was there more you wanted to add, or can
No, good. We're good.
I had done I guess it was a course, as I'm recalling it, and I think it's pronounced Merkaba, which is considered the flat, it's sacred geometry, which plays into, sacred geometry. They're saying, well, that's another day. We'll have to do that another day. But much of your life forms are grounded and based in sacred geometry. So I was doing a class where God, I'm trying to remember this. It feels like so long ago. It's probably about 15 years ago, where we got in touch with the sacred geometry. And as I did this, I literally could feel myself and my consciousness expanding out into the universe, into other dimensions. And that's when I was able to access that tool of projecting my consciousness out. And I didn't even do it consciously. It would just happen. I would ask something and it would go and do something in another part of the universe. I would go get information or a tool in some part of the universe and bring it back. It kind of blew me away the first time it happened. I'm like, because I'm not going to say I'm skeptical by nature, but because I'm not, but it was a little, I had a little bit of skepticism around that, but yeah. So you can do that. You can go into different dimensions and different locations throughout your universe, as well as others. You may not recognize them as other universes, but there are others. Mm-hmm. So we invite you to sit and meditate and set your intention to go do that. It helps to have a focus of what you want to go do, whether it's meeting another life form, observing another life form, or getting something to bring back that could be used as a tool, maybe information. And that's how I did it. So that's what they're saying it is more helpful. So
yeah,
I mean, I feel like we could just talk about this for
right.
So
a good subject.
Anyway, I hope. Is there more? Do we need to do more, or do we answer those questions?
I think hopefully we've answered those well enough for you and given you some good feedback. Right. On those great questions.
We love that. Those were great questions.
They were. So remember, that's what we'd love to have from you, is thought-provoking kind of questions like this that we wonder about, because it's
They're just
It's our
talking,
pleasure to be able to channel anything for you on that.
they're just really saying, don't get hung up on your limitations or what you perceive are your limitations, because your consciousness is limitless.
Exactly. This is getting that too. We're limitless. Yeah.
Oh, good
Yeah.
way to end it, right? We
Yeah.
are limitless, and we can, outside of the body form, outside of the human form. So allow your consciousness to go do that. And this is, I'll just say this too, this is backed up by actual research. I'm still reading that book after. I'm reading so many books and doing so many things that I kind of have to pace myself. But that this doctor spent like 40 years of his life researching and documenting, and he is a scientist, and that is his primary. It's like, if I can't document this and have some kind of scientific basis, what's the point, right? Because humans and science is about documenting that and being able to have repeatable, I guess, repeatable evidence about that. Yeah. So, and in this book, he talks about consciousness and and having it move about. So it's quite interesting, or the people he's interviewed have had that experience rather. So,
Yeah, that would be
so that's where,
interesting.
that's where we're at.
Great.
Anything else?
I don't think so.
All right.
Huh.
So then we
You know
should
what I
say,
just got? I'm just going to add this in.
please.
You are not going to be alone forever. Was this for somebody specific, guys, or everybody?
Yeah. Yeah. What does that mean?
All of you. Okay, I know. Let me explore that just a little bit here.
We concur.
Yeah, they're just saying, because some of you do think that you are alone. Never, ever, ever. And you will manifest a partner, whether it's a companion, whether it's a love relationship, when you are ready to go within and know that you are worth loving and that you're worth having that experience. We wish to share this with you because so many of you are in this space of not knowing if this is truth for you. And they are literally slipping it in before we leave. They wanted to slip it in. And it's just a reminder, everybody. So
such a perfect reminder. Thank you so much. As you were talking about that, I'm like, oh, I need to send this link when we're done to this person and that person. And you can't just go to YouTube and get it. I want to make sure that certain people get it. So
yeah, no, that's great. That's great. So yeah, thank you, everybody. Thank you to our guides, both Julie and our guides. We very much appreciate them. And I probably speak for Julie on this too, that we very much love the support, angelic support that we have, and our guide support that comes through and shares messages with you. So again, we really appreciate you viewing our channel, and please do, if you see value in it, to share it with other people. We really would appreciate that, and welcome your questions. We love questions. So
I'm like so off and running now on the whole time and other places and other civilizations and other oh gosh, ask questions about that so that we can ask our guides and delve into that for you. Okay. Right. But specific questions are really helpful. So thank you, Tammy, for recapping that. And
yes, thank you for all your information.
And so for from Two Psychic Moms for today, we love you and we'll see you next week. And please do share and ask questions. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.